Welcome to Impact Makers Radio, featuring industry thought leaders sharing problem-solving insights to help grow your business and live the life you love. And here's your host, Stewart Andrew Alexander.
Hi, and welcome to another Let's Talk Divorce conversation. And on this segment of the show, I have a family mediator and certified divorce financial analyst, Jennifer Segura of San Diego Family Mediation Center. And Jennifer is calling in all the way from Del Mar in California. Now listen to this, folks. Jennifer has a wealth of experience in the area of divorce mediation and will be answering one of the most frequently asked questions we've received during this series, which is, why is mediation the best option? What's so good about it? Well, for those divorcing couples out there, you asked for it and we responded by bringing in our esteemed guest today. So you need to stop what you're doing, log out of Facebook, drop the bait. No, I didn't say that. Down tools and listen in to what Jennifer has to share because she has a wealth of experience in this area. So let's not keep her waiting any longer. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
You are so welcome, Jennifer. So let's just jump straight in. In your own words, Jennifer, briefly describe the kinds of people who you serve and the various types of situations that they find themselves in when they come to you for your help.
Okay. So predominantly we are dealing with couples going through divorce. This would be your typical married couple that would, in the past or traditionally, each go out and hire attorneys and kind of start the respective battles. So instead of ever heading out to attorneys, they start the process with us. We do offer a drop-in clinic, and so they often will come to that and just kind of ask, what should we do? I don't even understand. What is mediation? So we give them some education on it. And then it may take a couple weeks, even sometimes a couple months, and they will come back and say, okay, yes, we'd like to do this. So when we are working with the divorcing couple, we are working with both partners. So they do not each take their own mediator. They each sit down with one mediator, and we do everything for them from the start through the final decree. And then a small percentage of our practice is also working with premarital couples, so helping them to determine what a good prenup would be for them entering into a marriage and having the important conversations about finances that people never seem to have, as well as meeting with couples that have been married, want to stay married, but they're looking for some sort of help and assistance in keeping their marriage together that does not include counseling. So that would be some of the other little things that we do in addition to the divorce.
Okay, Jennifer, that's a great answer, great start to the show. Now, keeping in mind that anything that you share with us today is not legal advice or legal assistance, can you briefly share one of the most common misconceptions, and I'm sure there are many of them, but just one of the common misconceptions around the topic of mediation as the best option for divorcing couples?
Certainly. The top misconception that we hear is going to be that their divorce is too complex, that they couldn't possibly get through mediation because they have too much money, too many assets, too much debt, whatever the case may be. That is something that not only I think is ingrained in people, but also something they hear from friends, family, maybe consulting attorneys, is that, oh, no, your situation's far too complex. You could never do this in mediation. And what we say to them is it's absolutely not true. It has zero to do with how much money they have, how many assets they have, or what the case may be. It all revolves around how much can these two work together. So as long as these two people want to sit down, have conversations, and get through these issues and do it on their own terms rather than doing it, pursuant to a judge imposing something on them, there is nothing that can't go through mediation. We are in Del Mar, which is a very wealthy city, and all of our clients have huge net worths, and the last thing they want to do is open up that can of worms for an attorney who's going to come in and take all that money. So, the only time that we possibly would say, maybe mediation's not the right place for you is if domestic violence is involved. Now, it's not to say mediation can't work. We do have several people in town that will work with people who are high conflict. We just choose not to. But as far as the amount or value of their estate, there's nothing that we can't get through in mediation.
Okay, so based on what you just shared with us then, Jennifer, and keeping your client's confidentiality in mind, please share an example of how you've helped someone who came to you with those challenges, those misconceptions that you just described, and what kind of transformational results you were able to gain for them.
Sure. So we often have the baby boomers are getting to an age where we are seeing a lot more of them come into our office for divorce. And the problem with, and often in this field, is called the gray divorce. And the biggest problem is at that stage in their lives, they've been married 25, 35, 40 years. They really have built their entire financial lives together. And so for them to, at this point in life, start to divide all of this and kind of dismantle it is extremely disturbing for people in this age group. And so what we often do is we tell them, look, we have a lot of people that will come in and real estate is one of their biggest assets. They have several different pieces of real estate. And we manage to give them the options of keeping it all together and continuing to earn the money off of their estate, just as they would as a married couple, but we're going to put in some safeguards, whether or not it's incorporating certain real estate or whatever the case may be for each person's needs. We tell them we don't have to dismantle this. Attorneys and in traditional litigation, they don't want to have any sort of connection at the end of a divorce. Whereas in mediation, if the two people sitting in front of me, they're adults, they can make their own decision. And if they feel, yes, we can do this and we can manage this in a way that both of us can survive as we had initially planned, then we're going to help them do that, regardless to what, mainstream litigation would say to that.
So we're talking today about why mediation is the best option, right? So with that in mind then, Jennifer, and for those divorcing couples wanting to know more, what's the most common but unknown pitfall that they might not but should be aware of? Now, I'm sure there are many pitfalls, but we've got time constraints. So if you could just share the most common unknown pitfall, that would be great. Thank you.
I would say the most common pitfall is that assuming if you walk into a litigating attorney's office and you say, hey, I'm getting divorced, this is what I want to do, and you had approached this attorney as your attorney, to be your attorney, and they decide, oh, hey, well, I can just mediate this for you. Well, I think the biggest misconception is that a litigator who's been litigating for 20 years or whatever the case may be can litigate a case on Monday and mediate a case on Tuesday. I just returned back from a conference, an annual conference that mediators go to. It's the Academy of Professional Family Mediators. And the one thing that we are all in agreement as a profession is there's a huge difference between a attorney mediator and somebody who truly is just a mediator. And the difference in that is litigators will often treat mediation as a settlement conference. And they really are not giving the client determination that is so important in mediation as the whole process goes. Is we want to give clients this is your process. We want you to determine what the outcome is. We're not here to determine what the outcome is. And we're here to support whatever outcome that is that they want, even if there may be red flags as far as, down the road, you guys are still owning a home jointly. That's a problem when you look through the court system. It's not a problem when you look through the mediation system. But you just have to be careful with who you choose as your mediator and just ensure that they are, in fact, trained as a mediator and they're not just somebody saying, hey, I litigate on Monday, but tomorrow I'll be your mediator, because it's just not the same.
That makes total sense. So in terms of, let's look at it this way, Jennifer. It's a Monday morning. I'm just trying to get a sense of your passion, because I feel it, I hear it when you're speaking, but I just want to get a sense in your own words of your passion for what you do. So it's a Monday morning. The alarm clock kicks in. It's 5 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever the time may be in your corner of the world. And you have a day's work ahead of you of clients who find themselves in the unfortunate position of being in a divorce. How does Jennifer feel with that kind of day ahead of her?
I absolutely love meeting with clients. And I guess it's one of those things that you look at people and you think, God, I'm glad that they can do that, because I certainly couldn't. Mm-hmm. And I could look at, a doctor and say that, like, I couldn't be around blood and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Same kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I originally started my education out wanting to be a therapist, but somewhere along the line, just came into contact with mediation and the process and what it allows, and kind of switched gears and went to law school. But I did go to law school with the end result being mediation, not the end result litigating and being a litigating attorney. I absolutely have passion for families and helping them to keep the family aspect together, even though the two people are divorcing each other, but for the children involved to maintain that family relationship and to maintain a friendship and a co-parenting relationship. There's nothing more satisfying than starting with a couple who are really not getting along to the end of the process where they're friends again. And we've helped to take them on a journey to remember what it was about each other that they fell in love with in the first place, to at least get them back to a common ground and respect for each other. My clients call me years later to come back if they ever have any, parenting arrangements they want to change or any issues that pop up. And they're calling me, 6, 7, 8 years later, which helps me to realize I really am making a difference in their life. They're not heading to court. They're coming back to me. And it's a great feeling. And I love what I do, and I love being with my clients and helping them create just healthy, ongoing relationships.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of the reasons why we invited you on to the show. We did our research, and it was evident that you are making an impact, hence the name of the show, Impact Makers Radio. But for those people who are listening to you right now, Jennifer, could you just briefly share a little bit more about yourself? You've touched on some of the things, but just go a little bit deeper into a little bit more information about yourself, and especially in terms of your background and your education and the experience you have as it relates to the topic of divorce mediation.
Yes. So I did go to law school. I came to San Diego for my undergrad, went to SDSU. I was an English major, went into law school here in San Diego as well. About halfway through, did some mediation training, realized I really enjoyed it. I did work in some law firms through law school, but by the end, realized I definitely enjoyed the mediation aspect and the process, so became officially trained in mediation. Shortly after law school, in January of 2008, I opened up this practice. A couple years after that, I also became trained as a certified divorce financial analyst, because it became very evident that the two main things in a divorce, it's going to be your finances and your children. And there's really nothing else there. Those are the two things that we're working with. So I've made it a point to keep myself very relevant with any kind of changes in the finances and and different ways that we can create support and assets and distributions to help the family, not only the day they walk out of my office, but, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road, trying to set them up for success at the end of this and not for struggling and having to come back in and, having to go to court to change things. 2 years ago, I took on a partner. Her name's Amanda Singer, and she also has a law background and also a Master's of Dispute Resolution from Pepperdine here in California. And both of us just share the same passion of wanting to change the way that divorce is handled, at least here in California. And hopefully people will start to model what we can show them is that the success rate in couples following the agreements that are made is so much higher when they are part of putting the agreement together. And the agreement is what they want and what's best for their family, instead of being pushed through this cookie cutter system of civil court, which is never meant to deal with families. So it's something that we both hope to change as the years go by.
So, Jennifer, divorce rates are on the up and up, unfortunately. That's a fact. Is divorce mediation a trend?
I really think it is. We, again, like I said, we just came back from a conference with, when we spend time with the actual founding people in mediation, which happened about 35, 40 years ago, which is amazing to think because it's really taken this long for it to become more mainstream. But nowadays, we have people sit down in our office and the first thing out of their mouth is, we do not want attorneys involved. They do not want them involved because they know that it's a corrupt system that is geared to take their money, and the more controversy and the more that the pot can be stirred, the more money that the professionals involved are going to make. We work in a much more collaborative effort, and what we do is when we do have couples come in, if there are any issues or if either party is very concerned about the legalities or anything else, we encourage them to get a consulting attorney, but to work with them just as a consulting attorney, not as their representing attorney. We often will hook them together with CPAs or CFPs or other people that may be needed in order to educate them or for them to gain a better understanding of what the finances have been throughout the marriage and what that means for them going forward. And also trying to, for any of either partner who has been home and not out in the workforce, trying to help them get reestablished and what is that going to take, and helping them to figure out what do they want to do, and getting both parties on board with whatever that journey is, because at the end of that journey, now that person's going to be self-supporting. So let's support them to get there so that you're not supporting them for the rest of your life. We really take a holistic approach with our clients and try to help them in every aspect of their life and not just this one little part, but we try to help them overall for a new, fresh start.
Okay, Jennifer, we're coming towards the end of the show, so I'd just like you to picture the kind of divorcing couples who come to you for help and they're wanting to know more about their options in terms of mediation as a alternative to litigation. With that in mind then, Jennifer, what would be your final thoughts that you'd like to leave those people listening in to you right now before we get your contact details?
Just to keep in mind that always start with mediation. That if there is some reason that it won't work, that litigation's always there. It's always there. But think of litigation as the last resort. And instead of the first call that you make, start in a friendly way, because the way that the divorce starts, the tone that it starts in, is typically going to be the tone that is carried out throughout the process. So if one of you head off and hire an attorney and serve the other party and start off in a very contentious way, chances are that's what your process is going to look like for the duration of the divorce. And that's not healthy. It's not healthy for either party. It's not healthy for the children. And it's something that takes years to get through. With mediation, we can get people through it quick, efficient, in a friendly way, in a positive way. And so just keep in mind, start with mediation. If it doesn't work, there's always the opportunity to go the other direction. But this is something that I think can work with anybody that's looking to do mediation. I think absolutely you can do it if you want to do it.
So if somebody finds themselves in that unfortunate position of being divorced, how would they be able to connect with you, Jennifer? Where would they find you?
You can find us on the web at www.sandiegofamilymediation.com. Also, you could email me at Jen, Jen, at sandiegofamilymediation.com. Or our telephone number is 858-736-2411. We do also have a fantastic blog on our website. So if you are just looking for information, definitely check out our blog. We do update it weekly. So we always are putting out as much information as we can to help educate the public.
Okay, Jennifer, I'll make sure that those contact details are on the website alongside this show, of course. Now, for anybody out there, maybe you're driving in your car, you're out shopping, or you're listening in on your cell phone, your tablet, or any other kind of personal listening device. That's all we have time for today, unfortunately. Again, that was Jennifer Segura. Make sure you do check her out. Thank you so much for sharing so generously with us today, Jennifer. You have certainly, without a doubt, demonstrated that you are a true educator and advocate and a trustworthy advisor for your client's success. So thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. And I'd also like to end by saying a huge thank you to you, the listener. You may find yourself in that unfortunate position of going through a divorce. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy day and for joining us on this very insightful and informative conversation with one of the leading family mediators and certified divorce financial analysts in Del Mar, California today. Make sure you do check her out. Give her a call. You'll certainly be in good hands. That will be a great starting point to take the first baby steps. So again, I'm Stewart Andrew Alexander, the guy with the sexy British James Bond voice. And we'll be back shortly with some more leading divorce professionals in this, our series of Let's Talk Divorce Conversations. So, until then, take care, have a great day, and we'll talk real soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Makers Radio. To listen to all past, present, and future industry thought leaders and trendsetters, visit us at impactmakersradio.com.